What's up, everyone? All right, I'll get the link shared out. Got 8 minutes to the New York Open, so we'll fire up the live stream. Check out the charts here. Do. All right, there's a few levels to the downside that are kind of interesting. Just move this alert a little bit. We do have this descending channel. I may be open to scalping it. I'm going to see how price action forms into it. And the way I would trade this is looking to TP1 into this horizontal retest. Might not take that scalp. There's some other ideas lower. But would look to carry some of this position higher, maybe add to it on a reclaim and retest. We'll see. But higher time frame ideas that I'm still keeping an eye on, but need signs of strength to trade into those, is this cipher idea. Still have this fractal overlaid here, and certainly I'm interested in signs of strength or reclaim here. There could be still swing ideas to the 81K region, but no reason to be long here with quite a bit of local weakness. All key levels are breaking down. If you were on the live stream earlier, I talked about the idea of getting long at a reclaim of this horizontal with sizing for a stop under here, but just cutting at entry if we flip this level into resistance, which we did. And we ended up having some pretty aggressive longs coming into the level. So that's just a bearish retest flip. I pointed out in the Discord a couple hours ago. So that I'd still be interested in getting long on a strong reclaim, but we'd need to reclaim the level. I also did share this idea earlier as well, coming down to this parallel structure. But just here, so far, just longs coming into this horizontal retest. Aggressive longing into the level, and ended up being a rejection. So no reason, even if your invalidation is here, if you are getting long on a low time frame for a reclaim here, no reason not just to get out of that trade around entry there. That's a pretty significant sign of weakness structurally. But we'll see. We'll see what the New York Open brings here. Some very aggressive shorts opening into these local lows. It'd be nice to take them. But really have some bullish divergences forming. We'll see. Longs getting stopped out here. Some of these aggressive longs up on the retest here. And here we have a 500 Bitcoin negative delta candle, increase in open interest. You can see a lot of aggressive shorts piling in here just as we retest these horizontal lows. New York opens in 3 minutes. It would be nice to come in and tap this channel for a nice local setup. But yeah, trading it just as a scalp, targeting it back into a horizontal retest, because until we claim that level, there's always the chance that we just blast through it, in which case you could hold, but until you claim that level, I think it needs to be a local TP1. Probably be something like a 3R setup. And it might not work, and it might not look like a clean trigger. Alternatively, there's this higher time frame idea, and we just move down into this channel into the GP. I have a folder with both. Right now price is bouncing around the value area low of this entire range. Hard to say, there's a lot of confluence here. Some horizontals. No structure. No structure anywhere in here. So if I trade anything, it's going to be based off of parallel structures. Either of these. Quick move into the GP, into this channel could be interesting. Looking to trade that quick reaction and wick. Yeah, watching whiff as well. Yeah, I use BTC USD. I referenced it almost every time on the last live stream, and every time I share it, I reference that order flow as well. Yeah, whiff coming down into this wick, keeping an eye on it as well, have an alert set there. Just looking at this as a range. Both of these, like if I enter here, obviously always have a stop loss, but might have to enter on a big wick and either immediately cut, like there might be a wick reaction, carry with follow through, or cut on any weakness, and just kind of be sized for a little bit of volatility here and take the stop if there's not a strong reaction. I think this is this kind of very discretionary, trading a big liquidation wick into a level with no no structural triggers here, just kind of a level. If we bounce from this GP, just sort of a void on the chart with range low retests. Very possible there's just no clean trigger as well, so we'll just see. Keeping an eye on Doge as well. Might have to choose my battles here. Move WIF down to the lower time frames. Be trading quite wide on WIF likely. Very small position. Bitcoin tagging its low. Oh, that's a nice little reaction. I mean, that's a lot of volume. Wow. Holy shit. Okay. Well, somebody just fired off $33 million long here. Increase in open interest. Wild. I guess somebody was looking for that. I was actually maybe going to scalp that, just the horizontal sweep into the New York Open. But geez. It's a big, big long opening on the BTC USD. Oof. That is, I can't even remember the last time we've seen something like this on the BTC USD pairing. Like, never, probably, in the last year. Wild. Well, I kind of like the that channel setup a lot right now. If we can just run this long. This is a big trader. He could very well defend this position, but it would look nice to wreck them. I don't even actually know how to interpret this, really. Can still keep an eye on the structures above. Signs of strength being reclaims. Would have been a nice scalp just on the horizontal there. Just an absolute massive position opening there. It's not really the same here on the linear, which makes sense. Just really aggressive selling into the lows. Certainly gets squeezed out. Pretty curious to see what happens to this position. If this trader starts defending, obviously giving us a pretty significant local bearish divergence here, right? You can see CVD making a much higher high. And price making a lower high. Some monster, and there's shorts filling in here as well. Yeah, I'm not going to long into this. I'm going to let these guys do their thing. If we wash this guy out into that channel, I'd be interested in longing, but no doubt scalping off the sweep of the low might have been a nice play. Just targeting into your local highs. Still 0.5%, but yeah, I'm not going to chase that. Very big aggressive long position. Can see what happens. See if this guy starts defending. Yeah, I would be, maybe my memory doesn't serve me super well. I'd be hard pressed to remember the last time we saw 36 million positive delta in a 5-minute candle with what is clearly just aggressive market longs coming in here right at the New York Open. This, I mean, I guess I would say it has a bit of a bearish look to it just because this guy's a massive target now. A big position to just come and run that position, but we'll see. I don't think we've seen positions like that opening even up at all-time highs. But it would look quite nice on the chart here. To run that position. See what BlackRock's doing. Yeah, so typically order flow is going to look pretty similar across exchanges, but obviously there's, for example, like heavy selling at the highs, more buying at the, or heavy selling at the lows, more buying at the highs, positions getting stopped out, breakdown shorts. But occasionally you're going to see just an individual trader like this step in and do something completely strange with quite big size. And strange in the sense that it's this is clearly an individual. I feel like I'm about to see tweets of somebody that they just opened a $30 million long on Bitcoin on Bybit. Oh, absolutely. Someone's saying, why are you assuming that it can be ran? Let's say it's a 1x long with no stop loss. It can't be run. Yeah, certainly. It doesn't have to get run. Doesn't really change a whole lot anyways for me, because as a scalp off the lows, that setup's gone. And if I was going to long, I'd just long higher anyways on a reclaim. Just saying it would look nice to run it. They also very well might be able to defend that position. Things might get choppy here, but probably play it very similarly. Willing to be long on a strong reclaim and pretty cautious if we start breaking this level down again. There's typically better ways to get into positions that size rather than marketing in. Off these sort of like reactive, it's like trading this sweep into the New York Open. This just doesn't strike me as the type of trader who's just on 1x leverage with no stop loss. It's a very active type of trade. Maybe it was a mouse slip for the sizing there. But we're about to find out. Yeah, I mean, this guy's maybe about to get absolutely smoked here. All right, so let's keep an eye on, we'll keep an eye on this first sort of structure here. What might end up happening? Chop into the channel. I like a nice clean low time frame entry. What might end up happening is I might end up trading both of these ideas if we get something like this, right? With some long exposure if we break up. But just being patient here. We've swept our local lows, taken some local highs. We have just an absolutely bizarre position opening up here. Oh, I was on the wrong screen. I was just saying I may I may take this, I may not. Gonna look for a nice clean low time frame trigger into the channel. TP up into this. Cut the risk quickly, and maybe end up trading both. And in the case of a strong move to the upside, have some exposure. But anyways, we'll see. I don't have to be completely committed to taking the position. If I like it, I'll take it. Through the first 15 minutes of the open, with a very large position about to be underwater. I don't think this type of move that could be coming here. It's going to be particularly easy to trade, in the sense that the opportunity to take the long or make the decision to take it might come very quickly, and the decision to get out of it might come very quickly too, especially here. I mean, this can all get very volatile. Have to trade it wider. Just gonna watch order flow. Just leave the lower time frame channel on for now. I just have this fib pulled down to here. This would be our GP if we bounce from this channel. The GP and the context of the channel would align with this last touch of the highs. Sorry. Wrong chart. Just if we touch this, this high becomes our GP, pulled from the start of the channel to the bottom of the channel. This looks super brutal for this long position that opened. All right, let's keep it on the order flow. Aware of the levels below. For people asking me to look at other things, I'm literally about to be taking trades here, so gotta watch what I'm doing. Might trade whiff a little bit wider. Okay, well, we want to see that position go, ideally. So we'll keep an eye on for now. Again, just even though we're coming in and retesting these lows, just not interested in longs here with this. This is like very telling of a position about to get smoked. It seems to be anyway, so we wait for that run lower maybe. There's other levels too. If we have a really deep liquidation wick, taking these lows at 60K might be a trigger as well. I'm open to all of them. I'm just going to see if there's some clean reactions. If not, and really wanting to let the positions really only play if they're gonna make it easy on me. If I get that quick wick and price starts instantly moving in my favor and continues to, great. If not, then even if I'm cutting it at slight profit, run entry, it's okay. Can always get back in. I mean, it's very strange. I'll say something though. This little wick through these lows would have looked a little more interesting had this not happened. Excuse me. I have not entered WIF. I mean, one could assume if Bitcoin has another move down, a lot of these alts will. WIF hasn't taken this wick low yet. Maybe a little bit of a descending channel here as well. Doge about to take some of its horizontal lows. Let's see. I mean, it's always possible the market just absolutely nukes, right? Which is just for anyone thinking that I'm implying we have to bounce here. We certainly do not. Maybe in some of these big, I mean, in this, so just for a frame of reference here, In this giant impulse here, there was 16 million positive delta, and we had 36 million in this 5-minute candle. And 16 million in this, and this was shorts getting squeezed out. This is just a long that's randomly opened here. Big increase in open interest. We've had some high delta moves at the highs, but like 15 million, mostly shorts getting squeezed out, 8.9 million. That's usually where you see the most aggressive buys come in, at the top. Some of these big impulsive candles, 7 million, 3 million, 6 million. So quite bizarre. This, I think there's some 10 million delta candles in here. Oh, maybe this was the 10 million. 9.8, 10.7, 9. These were some pretty big positive delta candles. Obviously ended up being a big top signal. Ended up being the reason I shorted up there. But anyways, this is just strange at the lows. And if this was at the highs, I would be shorting 100% as a swing short. This guy might just get washed out locally, if at all, but this is like, oh. No, I don't need to sleep. I mean, I do need to sleep later, but it's just late. It's not that late though. It's 10 p.m. This is kind of what I want though, like for the local channel idea, form some nice little local lows and use those as triggers. We just need to take them with a big position to run. I'll be honest though, if we come into this channel and that position is still sitting there, I'm probably not going to take the long. If we wash it out, I will, but if it's holding on, I'll just wait for lower. Some aggressive logs coming in on linear here. 300 positive delta. It's not so crazy or surprising. New York Open, little range forming here. Aggressive longs. 79 Bitcoin there. Instantly underwater as of now. We'll see if that stays the case. Very possible we just break out too. The only level we have here is the value area low. And some very precarious order flow. I'll just be honest. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Somebody says, assuming the guy is on leverage, how likely you think it is he's protecting his position here? Not likely. I think he's about to get absolutely wrecked. But I mean, I could be wrong. I'm sort of, you know, if he can defend it, more power to him. But yeah, I don't think this is going to end well for him, to be honest. But it usually does not. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen super aggressive longs open into a downtrend. It's just some of the most aggressive, and it just usually does not end well for these positions. So that's just my perspective here. I could kind of sound ambiguous about it, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. If I was to guess, it's not going to end well. Maybe later, if I remember, I'll go show some examples of, like, not at resistance, but in the midst of a choppy downtrend and maybe around support, some bigger positions opening and just being absolute top signals before continuation. But those positions were maybe like 10 million delta, 13 million delta. I remember a few of them, but I'm not going to go back and look at them right now. You know, this is very, like I said, at least on this pairing, I can't remember the last time we've seen something like this. Somebody just went full. They went all in. They went all in on this idea. A little bit of a confluence here with BTC USDT forming some slight bearish divergences. Very slight. Some big positions up here. Yeah, dude, you can. I mean, it's just a game of probabilities. Anything's possible. So you're saying, what if he has another 100 million more? We don't know. Yeah, for sure. He could have $1 zillion, and we're the ones. We're the ones crying if we're not long. It's just, you know, what's if you want to make the kind of exception the rule, I guess. I mean, I'll get long higher with signs of strength. I'm just not going to long into that. I said, why do you think he opened then if it's so unlikely to end well? Unwell. Well, I mean, if you watch order flow, I mean, we can just go to where do you think the most aggressive longs always open? Like, if you went to the chart and you just picked the last 20 most aggressive longs I've ever opened, it's literally at the top of wicks before massive drawdown. So I guess for the same reason people always do. But again, who knows? We'll see. Maybe we start breaking out of these local highs, showing signs of strength, claiming some levels. There's shorts here too, though, right? The thing for me is I didn't have a plan. I like this parallel channel idea. I like lower and I like reclaims higher. So it doesn't change any of my plans. I'd be interested in longs reclaiming higher. I'd be interested in longs lower. And just because I've seen this bizarre massive position open, it doesn't really change anything anyways. I mean, it definitely doesn't make me want to long here more. And I wasn't particularly interested anyway, so following up, the same person says, but what is the reason? I thought the players with big capital have a good reason to buy and don't just gamble at range highs. I know this isn't a limit order. Well, I mean, lots of people that trade big positions, one, take losses, but two, get wrecked. And they might have a very good reason to buy. But just worth noting that there's also sellers here, right? Like somebody took the other side. It's all an increase in open interest, so it's not neutral. So there's limit shorts that get filled here. Now, it's very possible some big trader took advantage of a bunch of limit short orders stacked up here and filled them. But again, you know, there's just a lot of risk here. If we start reclaiming some structure above, I'd consider getting long. I don't really have to speculate too much about what's going to happen to this position, other than to say it typically doesn't end well in these scenarios. But I could show some examples where it has too. On BlackRock, there's a scenario where we had super aggressive longs coming in, and they held nicely. But as far as what time frame of what I look for on a reclaim, it depends. Like you can look for price to break above the level. Let me go to a trading view chart. There's, I think, different ways to trade reclaims that are reasonable. You can look for price to break above a level, spend time above a level, retest a level. But I don't mind trading pretty immediate wicks. Like, these are good examples just because they give the quick scenario, which is like these are 1 hour candles, for example, where price comes in and takes the low quickly, and it just wicks the low. It's wicking the liquidity, and then it just starts rallying immediately. And just trading the reaction is something that I'm very open to. But sometimes I'll cut those positions if there's not immediate follow through. Add entry, partial stop. Sometimes you don't get a clean retest, at least on higher time frames. Alternatively, you could wait for the initial impulse and look to trade a retracement into the level. Like wait for these highs to get taken, trade the retracement into but you just don't always get one. Yeah, I think this is an example when we came back into this range, or you could say reclaim these lows. We spent a little bit of time above, washed out the level, and then just impulse straight through the level. So there wasn't like a kind of clean consolidation above the level and impulse. Just trading into the move through the level might have been the way to go there. Yeah, but like I said, it's very possible he knows something we don't. It's very possible he has a plan or can hold up the market. But this is just, right as of now, this is just a breakdown into a void on the chart for me. And there's some structures here, technical structured, I'd be open to trading around. But it doesn't really matter what happens to me, or what happens here to me. And if we start showing signs of strength and reclaiming levels, then I consider getting long. But until we do, it's just a breakdown. So I definitely would be willing to admit we have no idea what's going to happen to this person or why they put on the trade or what they're capable of doing. But that doesn't sound like a very strong trade thesis, I guess. So let's mark it on the board as something interesting. But it's not enough for me to say, maybe this guy knows something. Price approaching the key horizontal. Lows are about 1% away, a little more. And I will be open to longing a reclaim as a swing, targeting 81K. $1,000 Bitcoin positive delta here on linear. Mostly shorts getting stopped out. As we retest the key horizontal, closing in on some local highs here. Decrease open interest, 1,000 Bitcoin in delta. Some of these bottom shorts getting squeezed out. Still a clean retest of resistance. And not a long trigger for me. Doesn't mean price can't claim the level, but this is still just a technical bearish retest. And we could trade above the level and then break down, but at the very least, let the bearish retest play out if that's going to be the case. And if I long on a breakup out of this level, which I very well may be in a moment, I'd like to see price carry through this level quickly, carry above this level quickly. Otherwise, I might just cut right around entry. I'll just say I don't love this from an order flow perspective, but I think it's worth a stab if we start claiming that level. Just about to wick this high. Just local high. This can always be a technical short trigger as well on the retest. You're going to have your very basic structures here. Shorting for continuation to the downside. With the sign of strength maybe being a reclaim of this level. My swing targets are still up towards 81K on a reclaim and continued signs of strength here. Looking for I'll show the cipher in a second. Wick these local highs. I just flipped. Someone says rubbish short idea. Well, I'm not particularly interested in shorts, but that almost makes me want to take it. I'm saying it's the flip of the level and retest is a technical short trigger. If you I mean, in the same way that it is here, right? You break down the level, you flip it to resistance. That's a technical short trigger. All right. So now you just want to see strong follow through here. This can very easily fake out. Really shouldn't for the bullish case. Start ripping these highs. This is very trappy. Very, very trappy. Doja is just crazy. It quadruple bottomed this low. All right, well, ideally would like to see follow through quickly. Pretty skeptical of this. move if we can start taking some of these local highs pretty quickly. Price still holding above. I'm sized for this, but I'm not going to take a full stop here. I might just get back out at entry. There's a bit of a discrepancy here between the USDT chart and USD chart. USDT is trading below this high. USD is trading above it. This honestly probably isn't such a bad short trigger on a rejection of this high. Let's just scalp back into the lows, but see if we flip it back into resistance. So far, holding above. At least on the USD chart. Regardless of how I feel about the position, there's no reason to do anything but be long while price is just going straight up, claiming levels, trading above levels. And if it just carries higher, then great. Would look okay on the chart. Obviously coming into the weekend, that's the only downside here, even if we see some strength. And ultimately would look okay on this cipher fractal. All right, well, I guess we find out if we start taking highs and see strong continuation or chop, chop. These were one of the two setups that I shared earlier, I guess a few hours ago. It said either looking for this move down to the channel if we flip this horizontal into resistance, or alternatively, still looking to long any reclaim of that level. And so that's the plan. 2 setups, one lower, one higher. I'm in the one that's higher, and if it's going to give it to me, then I'm not going to complain.
But to take some more local highs. I mean, the other thing is there's a lot of limit shorts that filled here as well because that's the only way that open interest went straight up in this candle. So presumably whoever took the limit short side of this is about to get wrecked.
But yeah, as of now, I mean, this technically the price action looks very strong. We've already rejected from these highs once, so that certainly doesn't mean that price has to carry on, but we'll see. Earlier we reclaimed, retested, and rejected from here. We'll see what happens here, but we are now reclaiming the level on a low time frame, impulsing up again. It doesn't mean that we have to carry on. But while we're holding this level, looks okay. Losing it looks a little less okay. Very interested to see what happens here if we start popping these local highs. So a lot of short positions piled up in here. This guy is actually potentially a Giga Chad. As the kids say. About to rip some local highs. I guess looking at this on the a lot of these candles neutralized in the 15-minute time frame, so it's not as apparent. Probably have to go to the lower time frames. Retesting our highs from about 6 hours ago. I can't go back far enough here, but there's a couple examples in here of just during a downtrend. Some of the aggressive longs coming in here, getting stopped out. Let's go BTC USD. Again, these weren't nearly as aggressive. 4.5 million, 3.5, 3.7. It's up being top signals into the downtrend. 4.2. I'm not going to be able to go back far enough to, I think, look. Actually, I might be able to on BTC USD. There's some good examples here. This is when we made our 73K high. So we had an 8.6 million long here during this downtrend. Pretty much any big high delta candle there ends up being a top signal. 17.4 million. That was the big one I was trying to remember, where we took a local low and a 17.4 million long came in just to instantly get washed out. And it came in down kind of at support, you could say, considering this move down from all-time highs to like 69K, 73 to 69K. Right on the wick, came in, instantly gets crushed. Some bigger positions here, I think, too. $16 million here, followed by 7.6. So 16 million followed by 7.6. Still near the lows. Not quite as aggressive as what we just saw, but basically off this reclaim, signs of strength, top signal before another move to the downside. So that's why I'd be pretty wary of some of these aggressive positions. Again, this is one of the bigger ones we've seen in a long time, but a little bit of bearish absorption forming up here as well, up at these local highs. I have no problem letting the long idea go. We're going to get back to present day here. I might be cutting this position very quickly. If we start losing structure, so far not though. I mean, this is almost a repeat of earlier today. The low time frames, we broke up, tested these local highs, held up the level, reacted a few times, then just flipped it back into resistance. But for now, we're holding above on the lowest of time frames. Big reaction into the New York Open. With the majority of the momentum here at the highs coming from a big short squeeze. Some long starting to close out. Can see a bit of selling pressure coming in to the retest here. I just want to show an example of like what looks good in a situation like this. It's very similar price action when you're trading a low time frame reclaim, as it were. What looks good, this is ETH, is you have a level. Here we can see we broke it down, we flipped it to resistance, and we broke out and we reclaimed it. And then we impulse off of it. And that's kind of the ideal scenario, right? Where you just want to see price break up, hold above the level, and continue on. And you want to get suspicious maybe if price, because that's just a fake out, right? And even if you're sized wide with a stop under here, doesn't necessarily mean you have to let the position run all the way to your stop. You can close it right at entry, and because you can always get back long on a reclaim. So in those scenarios, you know, being long for the clean reclaim, it's pretty reasonable way to manage your risk. And if we get that clean reclaim here, similar to that, although the time frame here is a little bit different, similar to that ETH position or ETH example, then great. You have a break above the level, was resistant, was support, flip to resistance, flip back to support, trading above, and just moves off the level. Very clean. And that's what you want to see. Let the price action make the decision for you. Playing towards signs of strength or signs of weakness. Oh, there's a pretty loud AC in here. I can turn it off.
So the ideal scenario obviously is just to have price just start, even if it's choppy, just start moving up through these highs, taking new highs, and never come back and revisit this level ever again
until 81K. Wouldn't that be nice?
Whiff about to break out of this channel.
Whiff or whiff out his hat.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I might stay on live stream for a few more minutes, but not too much longer. I came into the open with a plan. I think it was pretty straightforward. No need to overcomplicate it.
Some ideas lower, and some ideas for signs of strength into the open. So far, this idea is kind of working, but nothing to really celebrate because targets aren't until much higher. But I think very straightforward, very reasonable. Taking the trade as planned and letting it play out.
What do I think about Doge? I'm targeting. Well, don't thank me yet.
Bitcoin. I mean, price is up about 0.5% here, but it's an okay swing long idea. I mean, the reason I like it is the only reason I'm really interested, even here and maybe even on this live stream, and willing to take this aggressive long. It's this cipher idea, and I mean, it still looks quite clean with this fractal, so we'll see. Obviously, we can imagine this. I mean, we still have lots of levels to reclaim here, but this would be kind of like a WTF sort of rally for a lot of people anyways. Maybe kind of a tricky long to find. Who knows? But what do I think about Doge? I'm swing long on Doge. This was a major target for months. Big ascending structure here, but more kind of the more local idea is it is both the log scale GP from this low. It's the major GP from the major low. So if we go off log scale here, everything's going to look weird. But it's the major GP from this low. So we have major GP from major low to major high. We have log scale GP from minor low. We have this ascending structure, and we have a retest of all of these breakout candles. So, I mean, it's the same exact idea structurally, or similar concepts rather, than some of the things I'm talking about today on a lower time frame, where it's just you have resistance, you break out, and I've been sharing this level and talking about it for months, and we finally came and tested this retest and this GP. So I'm swing long out of there from earlier in the week down lower. Right now, I'm swing long towards all-time highs, by the way. I know that might seem a little crazy, but if there's anywhere to try it, it's here, I suppose. Right now, we're interacting with this descending structure. Need to break up out of it. A lot of relative strength to Bitcoin, like most alts, though. But we've reclaimed all these wicks. Consolidating, holding up. Rejected from this trend line in GP the other day. Yesterday, rather. And we'll see. I mean, obviously, if we start breaking out and claiming these levels, looks quite strong. But I'm long on several alts. I'm long on Phil as well.
the non-log scale, just this trend line idea. I had this idea up higher, and we ended up getting this nice quick move into the level, so that's still holding up. Price up about 10% from the level.
But that long was taken the other day as well. Anyway, it's got a few alt longs. I was keeping an eye on waves here, and I might pop over to it. Might take a small position on a breakout of this descending structure. Been kind of waiting for it to break out, so quite a wide stop, about 12% away. Could tighten it up a bit. And targeting up back into these highs. Still 20R. We could imagine this just forming into a big range if we start seeing some strength come up and take these highs again. Up into the GP, so. But might not sit on live stream for that. Kind of a higher time frame sign of strength idea, just looking for some reason to get long on waves. It's been really hard to to find a compelling one. Super choppy downtrend, obviously. This is the 4 hour. Maybe start some structure shift, market structure shifting here. Maybe looking for some signs of strength. Further signs of strength would be prudent, but I'm open to it. And by the way, I mean, I really don't think there's anything to celebrate until you've taken profits. We've wicked these highs. Unrealized profits don't give you anything, right? Except a little dopamine hit. Yeah, it's a little iffy here. We'll see. 440 Bitcoin positive delta at the highs, taking those local highs there. Some aggressive long positions opening. First kind of structural, taking all these highs. First real structural test there. Pretty nasty local rejection. And yeah, I would be surprised to see us lose this level, frankly, but $446 delta. So these guys can get punished. This can get tough here too. We can chop around a lot. Still not take the low. Form a range there. I'm probably just going to cut this position around entry. If we lose these levels. And that might actually mean I'll be waiting out the weekend. Maybe for something like that. If it gives it to me for free, I'll take it. But we'll see. If we wick these levels, that's okay, but if we break them down, get clean opportunities to just go sideline again. But like I said, if it does give it to me for free, I will take it. We do have some bearish divergences potentially forming here. Yeah, I'd just be cautious. That's all. It's going back to the I can't read your comment. Yeah, maybe it's going to whatever you said. There's something in the way of the comment for some reason. Yeah, FTM is crazy strong. Just playing in this channel for now, reclaiming levels. These horizontals coming next might offer some resistance, but just looks really strong. This is a logarithmic channel. All right, well, New York Open's kind of done. The session's on the trade near the start of the session typically. And so I'm going to let it go. You know, I'll say this. Maybe it's just this $36 million market long that opened right under us. Probably a little more cautious than I might normally be here on this setup. I'll say I am probably more bullish than bearish in a move towards looking for all-time highs before new lows, for example, taking our 56K low as more probable. I'm very open to being flexible about taking longs towards 81K. But we'll see. Been a pretty choppy downtrend. Alright guys, I'm going to let it go. Or let you guys go. Maybe if I'm still up, if anything interesting happens, I'll pop my thoughts into the Discord. For now, price is claiming levels. Looks okay. But need to keep claiming levels here. And really every level is going to be a sweat. But as long as price is holding back above these horizontals, no reason in my view to be particularly bearish. And you know, maybe we come up and take these highs, and this would be the alternate setup, right? Instead of longing on like the impulse up to the level, it's perfectly reasonable to look to long on a retest as well. And a lot of people will wait for the impulse and come in long the retest of the level in the breakout. I'd align something like this with the golden pocket locally after taking these highs. And that would be very similar to this Bitcoin or Dogecoin idea, just on a much bigger scale and time frame, right? You have a big range, you break out, and you come and retest it. And that's the reason why even up here, much before we came and tapped the level finally, I was talking about this level. It's because it's just a nice, clean, technical idea. So you can apply that on lower time frames as well. All right.